our presentation about Syria, and me and Aya worked on it, and we'd like to present it to all of you. Thank you for being here today. So, life in Syria. Okay, so Syria was a very peaceful country before 2011. Before anything happened, it was a really peaceful country. It was like fourth ranked in the Middle East. People were very good, and there was no violence at all. And it had a population of 23 million people, approximately, is estimated, and
there's also absolutely no secretaries in Syria. People really all lived happily together, and there was no violent acts. And me and Karam are both Syrian citizens, and we've been Syrian citizens for more than 10 years, and we've experienced the peace and how it was there. And Syria was rich with agriculture. There was a lot of cotton, and there was also some oil and gas.
Syria is very self-dependent. Most of the items that we have in Syria, they're produced locally. We don't need other foreign countries to produce anything for us. Everything is mostly homemade. Originally, there's about 500,000. We believe about 500,000. We can't say. We don't know the number if it increased or not. But we believe that there's a small fraction of Syrian citizens who really are against the government and our leader Bashar al-Assad. And people in Syria, the minorities. We believe there's many religions and there's minorities, and we believe that the part that hate the government are extremists. They're Muslims, but they take Islam to the extreme, like Wahhabism and such as that. Like people in Al-Qaeda, I'd say they're all extremists. You know, they make it so it's okay to kill people, and there's nothing wrong with that.
The 500,000 people that are opposing the country have been funded for 10 years straight by countries like Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and not to mention Hillary Clinton donated $45 million to the rebels. And supposedly it began from inspiration from other countries like Libya and Egypt, but we believe that it was an excuse to cause chaos in Syria from outside countries. And the first protest against Bashar al-Assad was staged by Syrian citizens who were paid money from foreign countries.
These citizens we believe are just citizens who are living under poverty, or they're just not rich and they need money, and so they can be taken advantage of very easily. So why do other countries want Syria? Is to begin with, the United States knows that Syria is allies with Russia and Iran, and we know that the United States, they completely despise Iran because of their nuclear program, and it seems like they don't want anyone else better than them in the world. Like no better military power than the United States. So other countries like Qatar and Turkey are allies with the U.S. and we believe their governments are they're not really Arab governments. Like they follow everything that they follow all the agenda of the Americans and the Western allies. They follow their agenda. They do what they want. It seems like they're not really Arab. It's not. They don't have really governments. They seem like traitors to the Arab world. And the United States and Israel, they have one goal, which is to conquer the Middle East. It's in Israel's dream. They want to conquer all the Arab countries. And if they can get inside Syria right now, if they can weaken the army, they can get to Iran much better and much easier, because they wouldn't have to get through the Syrian army. And doing this, they would have to internally ruin the country. They would have to destabilize the whole place. They would kill people. They would terrorism is the word I'd say. Just try and terrorize the Syrian people.
So this is what we think how the Free Syrian Army began. The Free Syrian Army, they're not really, like, the fighters in it are actually Syrian. Most of them aren't, and it's literally people, mostly from outside countries, that started receiving lots of weapons from Saudi Arabia, Turkey, etc., to kill citizens. A lot of them got paid for every person they killed, like 1,000 Syrian pounds, just to kill one person.
They often took videos of the victims and they blamed it on the army. You can't tell most of the time. Anyone who's just watching the video, they would believe them. You can't tell though. They would just kill people and blame it on the army, saying, fabricating things that this is what Assad and his army is doing.
So, like, a lot of news channels also do a lot of fabrication. Like, you never see a lot of people go on pro-government protests, like we do a lot, and you never see it on news channels. But whenever the anti-government protesters go out, you always see them on the news channels. So they're very biased, and the United States are also taking advantage of this chaos, because if the Syrian army is weakened, Syria will no longer be a threat to them.
Yeah, we've seen so many times people in Syria gather and make ginormous, big protests, and you'd never see it on the media. You would just see it on maybe Syrian TV and some of the channels that were not biased and not working for, they're not propagandas. This is just a picture of confiscated weapons by the Syrian army from the Free Syrian Army. These are just confiscated. This is just an example to show you how they're being funded, and they always get caught with weapons like this. And it's just getting worse now. They're getting mortars and artillery, and we can't stop it because the borders are giant and they're coming from all different borders. You see, this was in Damascus, and it was a pro-government protest. And like I said, you never see this on TV. You probably see it maybe on YouTube if you search it up, but anywhere else, it's never viral. They would never show it.
So over 60,000 innocent citizens have died since March 2011, and we believe to end this is the stopping of all foreign countries to rebels and the negotiation between the Syrian government and the opposition. Thank you for your time.